Hey everybody, I'm Dan, and I'm about to spoil the crap out of Avengers Endgame. So for whatever reason you're clicking on this video and you haven't seen that yet, get the hell out of here, go watch Endgame, then come back here and see my theory about the future of the MCU. Also, if you're going to be a spoiler phobe, I am going to talk about some spoilers involving Young Avengers comics from like circa 2005 or something, so just so you know. But here, my big theory here is about Kang the Conqueror and how I think he is the next big bad in the MCU, or at least that I think that he is hinted at in an interesting roundabout way within Avengers Endgame. To get there, and it might be a bit of a stretch of a theory, and it's going to be a little walk till we get to Kang himself, but we have to start first with Tony Stark's funeral. Here we have a teenage boy that a lot of people have been talking about. They're like, who is this random teenager at the funeral? We stop with all these other people, important people we know, and then there's like, who's this random teenager? Well, if you haven't seen yet, that teenager is Harley Keener. I keep wanting to say Harley Kiner from Boy Meets World, but I believe his name's Harley Keener. He is from Iron Man 3. He's the kid with the potato gun that you might remember Tony sort of working with on Iron Man 3. In some ways, he's sort of a proto-Spider-Man for Tony, and that like, here's this little kid who kind of reminds me of me, and he loves science, and we're working together. And if you don't remember, Iron Man 3 ends, or at least part of it ends, with Harley getting a whole bunch of cool tech crap from Tony. So we have this Harley character coming to the funeral, being inspired by Iron Man, and therefore I believe that he is going to be the MCU's version of Iron Lad. Now, it's a different interpretation. Iron Lad's character in the comics is not Harley Keener, but MCU is known for sort of taking bits and pieces from various comics and sort of weaving it into a narrative that makes sense for the MCU. I think it would make a ton of sense that this character that we built up before, that we brought back here, that character would become Iron Lad, who is a member of the Young Avengers. Now, if you haven't been following, the Young Avengers as an MCU movie has been sort of rumored for a while now, and if you pay attention and you know about the comics, Endgame is the first really, really big push towards getting a Young Avengers movie. We have two really big things in addition to Harley. So we have Cassie Lang, who is Scott's daughter, aged up over this 5-year time jump. Now she's a teenager, she is ready to be the character that she is in Young Avengers, which is Stature, which is a character, a young teenage Cassie Lang, who has similar abilities to her father, growing big and all that jazz. Then we also have Hawkeye, a female teenage Hawkeye in this movie. Yes, it's facetious when Clint calls his daughter Hawkeye, but in Young Avengers, there is a teenage female Hawkeye. So we have two important pieces of the puzzle right here. And in general, the movies have been sort of setting up the idea of this next generation of heroes. And so if we have those two and we have Harley, now we're beginning to build up the Young Avengers. Now, basically, you might be asking, what the hell does any of this have to do with Kang the Conqueror? Well, if you're asking that question, you don't know the story of Iron Lad. So I'm going to give you a sort of brief synopsis here. The idea behind Iron Lad is that this young lad here was a teenager who was being bullied, and he was plucked out of time by his adult self. Now, who might his adult self be? Well, one Kang the Conqueror. Kang, a villainous entity from the future, brought his young self to the future to show him the lands he's conquered, the battles he's won, his great villainous achievements. He wants to inspire his young self and have him kill the bully that had tormented him so much as a child, and sort of set himself on that path even earlier towards like greater villainousness. Great wording, Dan. But unfortunately for Kang, this backfires. Iron Lad, who is not Iron Lad yet, he goes back in time, he steals some of Kang's technology, and he creates the Iron Lad suit inspired by Iron Man. He then goes to find the Avengers, but in his timeline here in the comics, the Avengers are disbanded, but he finds the remnants of the Vision and uses his technology and mainframe and stuff to find this fail-safe protocol about oh, if the Avengers die or are missing or whatever, here's our backup plan, which is to form the next generation of heroes, which is the Young Avengers. So therefore, Iron Lad basically builds this team together specifically to help defeat his adult self, who's coming after him. So, in a lot of ways, this would make a lot of sense for a Young Avengers movie. We have in the MCU characters that are dead. The Avengers are sort of fractured. We have Vision's body being, probably in storage somewhere, right? For all we know, this whole failsafe protocol was something Vision had worked on with Nick Fury. We have Nick Fury in Spider-Man Far From Home taking this teenage hero of Peter Parker and being like, I need to build the next generation of heroes. Similar idea here, building up. And so basically, Endgame is interesting because it takes the two aspects of Kang the Conqueror that really matter the most, and it heavily hints at both of them. We have both these hints at Young Avengers via Cassie and a young Hawkeye, and then we have the hints at time travel, because the whole thing of Avengers Endgame is about using time travel, and what better way to follow up the introduction of time travel into the MCU, but with a time-traveling villain. So it would make a lot of sense to sort of set up this villain of Kang the Conqueror in a Young Avengers movie, and then to build that out into a bigger dramatic conflict in a future Avengers movie. So yes, I might be stretching here. Who knows whether this Harley Keener thing is just a cameo, is just a callback to Iron Man 3, who knows? But it would make a lot of sense to be like, hey, we're setting up Young Avengers, we're setting up time travel, we're setting up Kang the Conqueror. This is all sort of stuff that I can picture Kevin Feige being like, we're gonna secretly just sort of cleverly hint at these things. Let's see if fans think about this stuff. But we're not gonna like give you a Kang the Conqueror after credit scene. We don't know for sure where we're going with this. And I'm sure some plans might have shifted around with the Fox merger and all that stuff. But I feel like a lot of these pieces are coming together. I love Young Avengers. I really hope we get that movie. And it would make so much sense to have Iron Lad be Harley Keener, a character that you've already set up, a character that people are somewhat invested in. He's now the same age as Cassie. They have a romantic relationship. Makes a lot of sense. And we have a dead Vision, and dead Vision comes back to life after all this Iron Lad stuff happens in the comics. Makes a lot of sense there too. So let me know if you think I'm crazy. Let me know if you think I'm reaching too much, or if you have some evidence to back up my theory or some evidence to go against my theory. I'd love to hear all your thoughts about Endgame and about Kang the Conqueror. And if you want to know more about this, let me know. I'll do some more videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you're doing okay.